Bonsoir. S'il vous plaît, on commence. Cher président Prodi, cher commissaire Füle, chers amis André et Andreu, chers collègues membres du Conseil consultatif et chefs de file des réseaux nationaux, membres du Conseil des gouverneurs de la Fondazione Anna Lindh, chers amis, soyez les bienvenus à Naples. Il y a quelques semaines, le 4 octobre, nous avons réuni près d'ici 30 000 jeunes provenant de tous les parties du monde, en lançant un nouveau slogan pour Naples. Pas plus voir Naples et puis mourir, mais voir Naples et puis la paix. Donc c'est le nouveau slogan de Naples à partir de cette date. C'est le même slogan par lequel ce soir je vais vous accueillir, en vous souhaitant la bienvenue au nom des membres de la Fondazione Mediterraneo, des responsables des sièges détachés, un réseau d'institutions qui, au cours de 25 années que nous allons fêter demain, ont participé au dialogue euro-méditerranéen aux côtés de l'Union européenne. André Zollé, André Claret, ils l'ont dit dans ces jours, tout a commencé à Naples, tout reparle de Naples. Aujourd'hui, en effet, on célèbre plusieurs anniversaires. Ce n'est pas seulement le 10e anniversaire de la Fondazione Anna Lindh, c'est le 25e anniversaire de la Fondazione Mediterraneo, mais c'est aussi l'anniversaire de la conférence ministérielle avec laquelle est née ici à Naples la Fondazione Anna Lindh. C'était ici qu'est née l'idée de notre fondation et c'est ici qu'on a commencé le parcours avec l'appui du président Prodi qui, il y a 11 années, il a dit Naples, une grande ville capable de penser européenne et respirer méditerranéenne. Nous l'avons écrit dans notre siège et synthétiquement, à Naples, on a réalisé les grands forums civils Euromède de 97-2003 avec milliers de participants. On a créé ici l'idée de la Fondation Anna Lindh et on a réuni pour la première fois, beaucoup d'entre vous se rappellent de ça, le Conseil consultatif qui a et la continuation du groupe de sages que le président Prodi a créé, qui a donné les bases fondamentales pour la Fondation Anna Lindh. On est aujourd'hui dans un moment difficile de l'histoire. Il y a beaucoup de problèmes que vous connaissez comme moi, et c'est le moment d'oser. Nous tous, nous avons une grande responsabilité. La mer Méditerranée que vous voyez ici, que vous voyez de même de notre maison de la Méditerranée, ce n'est pas plus la mer de 1995 qu'on a commencé le processus de Barcelone. Nous tous, nous avons l'espoir de faire des choses pour la paix et pour le dialogue interculturel et l'interaction sociale de la Méditerranée. J'ai été il y a 2 mois à Erbil en Irak et puis à Gaza et la situation c'est catastrophique. J'ai vu des choses qui ne sont pas aujourd'hui, excusez-moi l'émotion, mais je le rappelle dans mes yeux, qui n'est pas le cas de répéter, mais ces moments difficiles où tout semble perdu s'accompagnent des moments où l'émotion, l'orgueil et l'affection se mélangent, donnant lieu à un espoir pour notre futur, notamment pour celui des jeunes. Nous tous, nous avons une grande responsabilité. Il a dit André Azoulay aujourd'hui, il faut promouvoir la résistance de la culture. Si on tue la culture, on tue nous tous. Et malheureusement, dans le monde, dans tous les parties de la société, religieuse, politique, etc., tout le monde, encore une fois, travaille pour affirmer l'amour pour le pouvoir, qui détruit nous tous. Il faut changer ça. Il faut réaffirmer le pouvoir de l'amour, que ce n'est pas une rhétorique. Il signifie avec compétence, avec passion, d'affirmer le travail à faire pour aider les autres. Ce n'est pas plus le temps de travailler pour appartenance. J'appartiens à lui. Non. Il faut voir la compétence parce qu'en tant que le malade va mourir, le médecin ne peut pas plus étudier, on dit là. Il doit agir. Il faut agir et il faut oser pour sauver des vies. Et c'est ce moment très heureux qui est le moment d'aujourd'hui où nous allons remettre le prix à Štefan Füle, le commissaire Füle, et puis après à Romano Prodi. C'est avec émotion que je vais remettre le prix de la Méditerranée pour la société civile au commissaire Štefan Füle.
A very good evening. President, dear Andre, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this award. It means a lot to me. This is indeed a great honor and touching memento of my, now I see, a short time and work in the southern neighborhood over the past 5 years. To receive such an award, the company of such an eminent people as Romano Prodi, the former Commissioner President and the creator of Anna Lindh Foundation, it is both humbling and reassuring. Indeed, it was you, President Prodi, who showed vision and leadership in 2003, when you asked a group of wise men to make recommendations for improving not just intercultural dialogue, but also a peaceful coexistence in the Mediterranean region. Dear President, you must be very gratified with the progress made by the Foundation over the past 10 years. It is equally humbling to receive this award in the company of the President of that Foundation, dear Andre, who has guided them with such a distinction and wisdom over the past 6 years. And I should certainly not forget all of you and all that you have done to make the Anna Lindh Foundation such a success. It almost leaves me speechless. And as I will be speaking at some length tomorrow, maybe that is the best position to maintain. However, let me just say the following few words. This award represents people, dialogue, freedoms, hopes and dignity. A vocabulary of the aspirations of the brave populations who have made many sacrifices over the past few years in their quest for a free and fair existence. And Europe has tried to respond to that call, and we have been on our own learning curve since 2011, when we had to press our reset button and engage in our rethinking process. Citizens, civil society would now have to be a part of the solution, not as they were sometimes perceived as a part of the problem. This was key for ensuring the inclusiveness and sustainability of the transformation process. And this is why it is imperative that we help create safe spaces to allow different actors on the ground come together to talk, to work on common initiatives, and to address old and new problems. President, dear friends, this award is greatly appreciated, and I will forever treasure it as a fond memory of the efforts we made together to allow people have a central role in the dizzying mix of politics, programs, projects, etc. Therefore, I feel this award should be shared by those of you in the room and outside who are engaged in the same exercise in the very difficult circumstances. And I think the award should be dedicated to those who are not so lucky to have the opportunity to be with us today. Those misplaced by conflict or repression. Those journalists and civil society activists who have been unfairly imprisoned for their deeds and words. And those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in their quest for a better and more dignified life. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Président Prodi, commissaire Füle, ambassadeurs, excellences, très chers amis de la Fondation Anna Lindh, je ne ferai pas de discours ce soir, ce sera pour demain matin. Donc, je vais être court et bref. Court et bref pour dire au président Prodi ma reconnaissance, notre reconnaissance. Il y a 10 ans, Monsieur le Président Prodi, vous avez été visionnaire et pionnier. Vous avez donné à la Méditerranée, et donc à chacun d'entre nous, la possibilité, la capacité de penser, de revisiter et de reconquérir toutes les valeurs qui donnent sa légitimité à la référence méditerranéenne. Ces valeurs qui se sont malheureusement aujourd'hui, qui ont malheureusement disparu de beaucoup de nos rivages. Vous le pressentiez et vous avez invité la culture au grand banquet de l'humanisme, de la pensée et de la citoyenneté. Parce que vous étiez au sommet de l'édifice de l'exécutif européen, et c'est de là que vous avez pensé société civile. Vous avez été le premier. 10 ans après, Monsieur le Président, vous pouvez être fier. Fier du chemin parcouru par cette institution que vous avez voulu, à la fois responsable, engagée, militante pour le meilleur. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes dans un temps et dans un espace qui sont ceux de la peur, de l'archaïsme, de la régression. Et la Fondation Anna Lindh, dans la feuille de route que vous avez tracée, que vous avez voulu, veut exprimer et illustrer et s'identifier à toutes ces valeurs qui nous font défaut aujourd'hui. La voix de la Méditerranée qu'exprime la Fondation Anna Lindh est celle de l'altérité, de la liberté, de la dignité pour chacun. Merci d'être avec nous ce soir pour cet anniversaire. Et je suis à la fois heureux, mais surtout reconnaissant à cette possibilité que vous avez donnée à chacun d'entre nous d'exprimer notre voix pour revendiquer et redonner ses plus belles couleurs à cet espace qui a été celui dans notre histoire, dans toutes nos histoires, dans toutes nos religions, dans toutes nos civilisations, l'espoir de la créativité, de la modernité et de l'humanisme. Merci et je suis très heureux aussi de vous remettre ce soir ce prix de la Fondation Anna Lindh qui honore, distingue et en même temps récompense cette citoyenneté que vous avez contribué à donner à chacun d'entre nous. Merci beaucoup.
Un po' di qua. Presidente, anche qua.
Good evening to everybody. Dear Commissioner, dear members of the Foundation, I am very happy to be here and to receive this award that brings me to old times, 1 century ago or more, when I was President of the European Commission. And I want to say a few words, very few, because I know to deliver a speech before eating is a tragedy, and wisely in Italy we say, when there is a dinner speech, long spaghetti but short speech. So 10 years have passed since the foundation of the Anna Lindh, and I've only to prize it, the effort, the idea, how you have delivered during these 10 years. My only regret is that the foundation has been alone, in the sense that the idea was a foundation accompanying a strong European policy for the Mediterranean, a strong joint policy, south and north of the Mediterranean, and this didn't happen. Only in part, and if there are so many troubles in the Mediterranean, of course, it's not certainly a European responsibility, but in the Catholic religion we say also that there are sins of omission, and I think that we have not done what history asked us to do. And the foundation has really made a remedy of some of this omission, but we need to go on not only with the dialogue started by the foundation, but an implementation of a policy against conflicts, against fightings, against the incomprehension among minorities. The problem is to accompany the dialogue with new institutions, with a new economic and a new political and economic decision. So our commitments were done in a different political environment before the economic crisis. But in spite of that, we have to recall them and explain us why what we propose to do, let's say, everything about institution to link the different countries with Europe, or even more, we call them the ring of friends, that was interests of Europe and interest for everybody to be linked between us. We couldn't do it, and we have still the increasing problem between Israel and Palestine. We had wars, post-Iraqian continuous war. We have Syria and then also Libya, that was outside of any war, and probably even the Arab Spring was left alone. Of course, nothing substantial probably could be done in that moment, but the feeling of the countries left alone in this difficult change has been clear to my mind. And in the report of 2003, enlargement policy and Mediterranean policy were complementary, were the same idea of a Europe that is, of course, as new members, part of Europe, that is also circled by France. And the two complementary policies, I don't say that it's been competitive, but it's been completely independent. And we didn't do the integration that was necessary. It was not only political, but also economic. The decentralization of European industry in this global change has been directed not in a substantial part to the southern shore of the Mediterranean, in a negligible part if we organize, if we think so. So the result has been uncontrolled migration and terrorism. Migration is so important that this year we had already more than 100,000 migrants arriving by ship in horrible conditions. Probably we can count more than 10,000 died. Can you believe what it means? And half of them coming from the war and conflicts, and the other from poverty. With these two streams that are linked together in a country that now is without a government that is Libyan coming here to Europe to look for a new life, you know, and we have difficult European cooperation in this field. Even, you know, you remember the discussion we had in Europe in the last months, how our countries were divided on migrations, you know, and clearly things are not easy because we have flourishing of populistic parties, we have a flourishing of anti-migrant groups, and but we cannot ignore this problem because of the delay because of the war's conflict and the slow progress in the country will go on for, I don't say forever, but at least for decades. When I was familiar to Sahel in the last years, you know, when the president of Niger told me, look, our population will double in less than 20 years. And so, where do they go if we don't move here? They will move to Europe. And we have to tackle this problem. And the second is terrorism. You know, terrorism is a new face. It's a terrorism with a territory that it was absolutely unpredictable before. And not only in Iraq and Syria, but look at the empty space we have south of Libya and Algeria. Look at Syria. When I was, you know, in my mandate at United Nations, I do remember when there was the invasion from north to Mali, all the world powers and countries were, let's say, approving, backing the French defense action. I do remember that the only leader who was against it, that I met, it was Morsi in Egypt, you know. But in the end of our meeting, he asked me, Professor, can you think that the terrorists from Sahel can arrive to Sinai? Let's say, you know, this is a common problem. This is not a problem of one country. This is a European responsibility to try to understand and to find a political situation, a solution for that. And not easy, clearly, because especially after the change, the wars in Libya, weapons are everywhere. You can buy Kalashnikov at a low price everywhere. And this is what is now, you know, the Barcelona process and the Union for Mediterranean, they have done all the best possibility to try to understand, to solve the situation, but they are not backed by a strong political will and not by a substantial engagement, you know. And so we, and I'm ending my too long speech, we need a turnaround. We need to convince the European nations, you know, not only the European institutions, because this is the problem of the countries. The resistance comes mainly from the governments, you know, not from the Commission. You are safe. Commission, you are safe. Not because you are here, but because it's the truth, because I had the same experience, you know, that you have now. So what I think is needed, you know, they are only my personal proposals, you know, because I'm only a citizen, but I think that, first of all, the Mediterranean problem is not anymore on the table of the leadership of the world. So, first of all, we did a Mediterranean conference engaging all the European institutions, all the European and South Mediterranean states. Absolutely, because we have to put back the problem on the agenda, on the political agenda, to deal with what? Economic and political cooperation, migration, and terrorism. These are the 3 chapters that are needed to tackle. And also, we have to go on with the proposals that are all but still undone, not done. First of all, I think that it's telling us all proposals, but we need a Mediterranean bank with a board equally representing southern and northern countries, but with a substantial endowment supplied by European and non-European countries. Let's say all the funds of the Gulf, and private funds. And not only the financial aspect, but also the decision-making process must be different. So this is why I insist on equally represented board of directors. Second, a project for cultural exchange of students, researchers, academicians, learning multiple languages. We can start reinforcing the Erasmus Plus for the Mediterranean, and clearly this is the first step for, and another proposal, a common, I insist on that. It seems naive, but a common university institution equally located in northern and southern shore with an equal number of students of the north and of the south, professors of the north and of the south, students studying 2 years in the north and 2 years in the south. And if there are fears for, let's say, religious or historical or political problems, let us start with scientific faculties, with technical teaching. Let us start with things that unite us. If we are afraid to raise political tension of problem, and clearly also a network with this, a network of Mediterranean chairs. Our Commission proposed the Brodel Ibn Khaldun chairs, an historian of the last century and an historian of the 15th centuries, to recall history and to bring it to the future. Then, very easy to do, but important, a network for distant teaching universities. Now it's very cheap, it's very important, systemic, systemic. And also the creation of the Euro-Mediterranean digital space and cooperation of the television. And so, look, these are the steps that are concrete. We can do that without any political revolution, Clearly, another step could be in the future to create agency for specific sectors, let's say agriculture, energy. But this is a follow-up of the project. So I am telling, look, this is not a new proposal. This is really a concrete set of ideas to create again the Ring of Friends, because our goal must be to become friends, equal friends, deep friends, and again friends. Thank you.
For me.